It's Judd's Hockey Show.
And welcome into Judd's Hockey Show. We're back after a delay not caused by the unwillingness of Judd Zolgett or Declan Goff to do episode of JHS, but because the damn team's not playing because of COVID until we got the Winter Classic on Saturday. We were both there. I was in the comfort of the press box. Declan outside. We will get much more of Mr. Goff's review of being in the great outdoors for that game. But my man, 5 consecutive games that this team has now dropped over an extended period of time because of all of the postponements. But let's talk about what we might see Thursday against the Boston Bruins, because we have some, I guess we could call this, as we record the pod, potential breaking news that will be met with great excitement by Wild fans if it indeed is paid off.
Yeah, well, we'll obviously see if, and when you're consuming this episode too, it might be official, but today at Wild practice, Michael Russo reported that Dean Evison alluded to the fact that Matthew Boldy and or Marco Rossi could be coming up tomorrow for the NHL debut on Thursday. If Boldy would be coming up, that means he'd be making his debut in Boston, where he played college hockey. But, you know, with the Wild banged up, and I understand why they didn't call them up for the Winter Classic. That all makes sense. Yep. We kind of figured it was a matter of time before these two dudes got called up. And with the injuries piling up, Rossi and Boldy, Boldy battled a little bit more of those injuries after missing the start of the season with that ankle sprain. I mean, Marco Rossi's been phenomenal. 23 points in 21 games in Iowa. Matthew Boldy, 10 points in 10 games. And like the real fun fact here that Russo also pointed out, Matthew Boldy is the only player who was selected in the top 20 of the 2019 draft who has not played an NHL game yet. Isn't that
wow?
All the other picks,
I didn't think about that's interesting.
At least played a game in the,
and he certainly could have come up in the playoffs against the Golden Knights last spring. That's interesting.
He's played college hockey for a long time.
Mining the Twitter feeds. For this.
He's only played about 28, 30 AHL games, but he's ready. He's played enough college hockey, and I think he has enough skill that he can make his debut. Like, he doesn't need to be seasoned there. I'm
more concerned about Rossi. Yeah. If I had to have one where I'd be like, I'm a little bit more skittish, Dex, Rossi, Boldy, I think should play.
Yeah, Boldy's ready. Yeah, like Boldy, health ankle wise, like his body, if that's indeed healed, he's ready.
Yep.
But the fact that both these guys are coming up, the Wild, haven't won a game because they haven't played many games in almost a month. I think these two dudes are exactly what the team needs right now. And I know that they're dealing with this ever-changing COVID situation. I don't know when they'll ever play a game in Canada ever again. But I think these two guys being called up is a good sign. This team needs a little shot in the arm, and I think it's with their 2 young prospects that could come up here soon.
So currently out, Spurgeon is out. He's hurt. Eck is out. He's hurt.
Yes.
Cam Talbot was injured at some point in time. I think lower body in the Winter Classic. He's out for right now. Brodin is in COVID protocols. I think he's close to testing out, but it's not a given yet, right? And Greenway, you told me, has been placed in the protocol.
Correct.
Is that correct?
And Brodin should be hopefully coming back.
So you need to get.
But yeah.
So like
forward wise,
the reinforcements aren't like, well, it's time for them. The reinforcements are.
We gotta go.
We gotta do something.
Yeah, we gotta go.
We gotta do something, to quote Chip Scoggins. So that's an interesting path to go down. But yeah, this feels, and it's not the Wild's fault completely, but a month and a half ago, Dex, we rolled through the schedule and we're like, we don't see a long Wild losing streak here. This team was different, and I'm not faulting them. But my gosh, between postponements,
I know, man,
and the fact that guys were in COVID protocols, and heck, the fact that Spurgeon's hurt, Eck is hurt. I mean, that's some pretty good firepower right there. I don't want to say I fear the wheels are coming off. I do think, at the very least, though, that we just need to get back to, and it's not just a Wild thing; it's a league thing. We need to find a way to get back to the normalcy of a season, because this is not doable. Like, you're postponing games because you can't fit, because fans aren't allowed in Canadian rinks. You're postponing games because guys are sick. I get the sickness problems, Dex, but at some point in time, if you can play, you have to just start playing games again and get back into a cycle, don't you?
It's tough, and we are not a podcast that's going to obviously go into political and other situations that we are not obviously seen to talk about, and that's not why you guys come here. But at the end of the day, they have to figure out how to not live with this, but deal with it without postponing games and losing all this situation, and it stinks because the Wild got off to such a great start. And then all of a sudden they basically are off for 2 weeks. And they come back with the Winter Classic, which we'll get into in a little bit. But they need to get back to playing games, man. And that was the only like silver lining I found with when the injuries started piling up. Well, if these games are getting canceled, I guess it's the best time to get healthy. Like that might be your only silver lining you can take away from it.
Yep.
But you have to get back to normal. And now, Cam Talbot also got a little banged up in the Winter Classic. They had to call up the Hamburglar to the taxi squad. So there's also other roster situations. Correct.
That's a big deal.
So you could imagine that it might be a Capo Kakinen in net against the Bruins on Thursday. Yeah, a lot of things are changing, but I just, to your point, I just want this team to start playing hockey again. The Vikings are wrapping up. I love the Wolves, but we want our hockey. This is Judd's hockey show.
Do you really love the Wolves?
I love the Wolves.
I like the Wolves. I don't love the Wolves.
I like the Wolves. I saw the Greg Monroe show in person last week. That was awesome. But,
I don't love the Wolves.
But
I enjoy a good basketball game.
But this is Judd's hockey show, and this Minnesota Wild team's fun, and you guys have come to us in the masses over the last almost year here. So trust me, we want to be able to talk about games too. We'll be able to do that.
So the Wild they lost a second consecutive game on a West Coast trip to the Golden Knights December 12th, 6-4, okay?
Yep.
Their next game was supposed to be Tuesday, December 14th, at home against Carolina, postponed. They did lose to Buffalo 3-2 in a shootout 2 nights after that at home. They were then supposed to complete a 3-game homestand against Florida on the 18th with a Saturday afternoon game postponed. They lost 7-4 at Dallas the next Monday. Then they lost games to postponement after that against the Red Wings and Winnipeg. So they didn't play from December 20th until the 1st of January in the Winter Classic against the Blues. And now in Canada, they were supposed to play, as we record this, tonight, which is a Monday, against Ottawa. That game is postponed. And then games next Monday, January 10th, and a week from Wednesday, January 12th, Dex, at the Jets and at the Oilers, postponed. So in some way, shape, or form at this point in time, you've got 7 games postponed, and I don't know if they're going to be crammed in at the end. I would guess that they're going to try and use what was supposed to be the Olympic break to get some games in. But the point is, I'll go back to, you need to get to a place where you can actually play games. And the league's going to, and this is not a political statement, but they're going to have to make a decision on this Canadian thing soon. Because it's one thing if guys are sick. Like, I totally get that. And we could argue it, but I get it.
Yep.
But this whole thing of, we can't get people in the building, and so let's just push these games. This is COVID. We don't know. Like, there's so little that we know. And the fact is, I don't know if you move the games here. I don't know what you do, but I'll say this. Like, this, in perpetuity, trying to postpone games in Canada doesn't work. And I don't want this season going into July, August. Like, come on, let's get past that as well. So there's a lot of the unknown that we're dealing with here, but there are also things that I firmly believe, Declan, they have to control. Mm-hmm. And the one thing is this Canadian thing, it's got to end soon. Like, you either go play the games, they come here, but this is not fair to the schedule. You're supposed to play a full schedule, and you're supposed to play games as part of that schedule on a regular basis. And this whole thing of, we'll postpone that, and now we'll postpone this. Come on, guys. Let's get past that.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Yeah, it's tough because, at the end of the day, you're doing everything you can to stay safe, and you're following protocols, and you're putting yourself in the best possible solution to try to fight this virus and deal with it. And it stinks. Like, we're 2 years into this now, and none of us want it. We thought it'd be a 6-week thing, and now obviously it's still carrying over 2 years. But for the Wild side, yeah, I just want them to play some hockey, man. I just want them to play some hockey. I want to see Boldy and Rossi come up. I want to see Fiala get out of this damn snake-bitten funk he's been in.
Winter Classic goal.
He did score a goal. I was proud of him.
Had
for
like
that.
5 more shots, too.
Yeah. And I'm glad I got to go to a hockey game. Maybe that's our awkward transition here, but I'm glad I was able to go to a hockey game to freeze my ass off.
Okay.
I was glad to do that.
Describe your attire. Describe the time. I was in the press box, drinking coffee.
Oh, that's nice.
And I was warm.
Sure.
Like there was a little bit of chill, but nothing bad.
Did you have to keep your jacket on?
I did.
Okay.
I did. But I would far prefer to hear your experience from actually being in the stands.
Yep. So I got tickets for my birthday a few weeks back, and so brother Liam was in town, friend of the show on Score North and Mackey and Judd and all platforms. Him and I came up. He came up from North Carolina in the nice warmth that he lives in, and got thrown right into the fire of the cold. So I had the following attire on. I had 2 pairs of long johns, 2 pairs of socks, joggers, snow pants, 1 compression shirt, 2 long sleeve shirts, a brand new Columbia insulated fancy winter. It's got like that foil that firefighters and EMT use on the. It's a nice liner coat. I was very warm there.
Okay.
2 pairs of gloves.
Okay.
One glove and 1 winter mitten over those. A skull cap, a winter cap, then a gaiter plus a ski mask plus snow goggles. That was my attire, just to get into the damn arena so I wouldn't freeze my complete butt off for the 3 periods.
Okay.
I will say the only part that got cold was about 10 minutes into the first period. When at this point you're now no longer moving, right? Like I'm also 11 rows up on the first base side behind where the Twins dugout is.
Wind or no?
Not much wind.
Okay.
No. Just pure bleeping cold.
Oh, yeah. No.
Just pure bleeping cold. So
Gotcha.
I was like direct center, cut in the middle of where the Twins dugout is on the first base side. So I actually couldn't really see where the Wild were shooting on twice. I really couldn't see the goal. I could see Biddington to a degree, but I didn't know where the hell the puck was going. But it wasn't until about 8 minutes in that I was like, my toes are killing me here. And what I did was, and when I had to take a intermission break to go to the bathroom, which took, by the way, the entire length of the first intermission, including that damn Thomas Rhett concert. So it took that long just to get in line.
Thomas Rhett concert never ended. He's not bad, but come on, let's get going.
I love top 40 crappy country music that the public despises, and Thomas Rhett's not my jam. He's fine. He's a good performer. He's a pretty boy, but no, it's not really my jam. I eventually, through a friend, got more. I brought in hand warmers, those body warmers, those toe warmers, but I used them all to get in.
Yep.
And then luckily a friend of mine had additional toe warmers, and I was one of the many people doing this, taking off their shoes in the middle of the Target Field concourse and lathering 2 pairs of foot warmers on the top and bottom of my sock to keep both.
And so they were originally, where did you have the
I originally
the
had one
warmers?
on the bottom of my shoe, like inside the bottom of my shoe, but I had to put both on the top of my, one on the top of my foot and one on the bottom underneath of my foot. And that worked. My toes were then toasty for the rest of the game for the second and third frame.
Nice.
But the experience was cool, man. Like, it was freezing, and I had numerous frozen beers. People were cutting open their cans just to drink their damn alcoholic beverages. I didn't even bother going for those warm cocktails that you and I discussed on Mackey and Judd last week. And I've heard reviews that it wasn't warm because there is no thermos that really keeps hot chocolate.
And where were those sold?
I think sporadically throughout the place, and I got, I just had a couple beers and whatnot, and that did the fine. I was not going to seek out a warm beverage. I just wasn't.
Sure.
But I thought the experience was awesome, man. I mean, it was packed, but it was a really, really fun experience. I'm glad I got to see it, but I would have liked a Wild win and not to get their asses kicked.
Right.
That part kind of stunk, but at the same time, very cool experience. I thought it was awesome.
And you stayed for the whole thing?
Yes.
Very impressive.
Stayed for the whole thing.
Very impressive. Now were bars throughout the stadium open? I thought I saw a sign on the Truly bar that it was closed for a private event, but that might have been post-game.
No, it was, I don't know if that Truly bar was then closed during the game, but Puckett's Corner, the one that's on second level behind the foul pole, right up the escalators, that was open. I didn't walk around the upper part of the second court. Yeah, Town Ball Tavern. Town Ball Tavern was open, and I mean, again, not to be political, you could probably cut the COVID with a knife in that bar, so I didn't really want to. I walked in there looking for someone quick, and then I walked the hell out. But those bars were open. It was warmer on the concourse, like warmer, but not warm by any means. So once you were covered, and they had those, those heat lamps that hang over right over when you start going down the stairs of a section.
Yes.
Those were on, and because there were so many bodies just roaming the concourse, it was a little warmer, but I wouldn't define it as warm.
The Delta
by
Club
any means.
was great because half the people who had seats in that Delta Club just stood in the Delta Club, where I'm sure it was nice and warm, and watched the entire game.
Smart
or tried
move.
to watch the game.
Smart move. But yeah, I thought the experience was really, really cool.
agree.
I thought it was awesome.
It was, first of all, they did a great job. Like, it was really,
They did,
and I was warm. So I'm going to speak from the standpoint of a guy in the press box who was just fine and didn't have to dress special for it. When I walked in, it was beyond cold. Like, I couldn't have done it.
Mm-hmm.
I admire you for actually being able to sit out there for 3 periods of that game and watch it. That being said, the Wild, the League, and the Twins did a fantastic job.
They did.
It was a little bit campy, but that's fine. It should be. Who cares?
Right.
The fake deer. It was incredibly well done. I also think it's the type of thing that you probably host once and then you're done with it. Like, it doesn't strike me as you need to do that again, but it was a very cool one-off thing, and I thought that it was orchestrated. I think that's the best word to use. Really well.
Mm-hmm.
The ice itself was crap, but it was going to be like this whole thing of we can warm the ice. You can't. No, you can't. You can, but it's not going to work. And the puck looked like a basketball. And the amount of snow that builds up because it's chipping slows guys down.
Oh yeah.
And if I was, and I think I talked about this on Mackie and Judd. If I was a GM or coach, I would hate this event. Like, trying to coach through it or watch my team. As a fan, it's awesome. It's really awesome. And to get the type of day that they got, we're crazy here, but we are a hardy bunch.
Yes.
So all of those things were well done. That being said, yes, it was disappointing that the game was bad. Where I will give the Wild a little bit of a pass is this, and the Blues too, I guess, and the Blues look good, and the Blues had played on Wednesday. The Wild, I believe, hadn't played in 12 days. But when this was your first game back, and this again was why the game was supposed to fit into the season, because it's like, okay, we'll play this game and it's going to be fun. And then we're back on Monday against the Senators indoors, and now you're not. This has to be incredibly trying for teams and players, and because they weren't going to, and I'm not surprised, cancel or postpone this game. So you knew that you were going to play this game outdoors. But yeah, I was really impressed. I thought they did a really good job. On TV, it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a great TV event.
Yeah, I
it
agree.
looks good. It comes off well. I thought this, and I will now say that in my opinion, it's confirmed. Target Field and I believe baseball stadiums, better sites. It's more TCF Bank Stadium.
No.
Football stadiums are sterile by nature, right?
Yes.
They're just sterile. And so it's and the argument that goes way back is, but a football stadium's conducive because it's a bowl.
More typically.
And it holds more, and it's a bowl, so you can watch the game.
Yeah.
Baseball stadiums have more nooks and crannies. That's all very true. But I think as far as the layout goes and the personality, personally, I think Target Field was much more attractive to watch a game at and to see the setup than at the time
Well,
TCF Bank Stadium was.
the one, was it at Cowboy Stadium in 2020, the Dallas one?
No, it was at the Cotton Bowl.
Cotton Bowl, that was atrocious.
The last one here,
that one
before
stunk.
this.
The views, the TV, like you say, it is a TV experience, and it is cool seeing it, but that was too, it didn't work. Remember the long walk of shame Corey Perry had to do? And
that's a huge football.
It was a humongous arena.
Stadium.
That didn't work. I thought at Target Field it was perfect. Yeah. I understand why the Wild probably, again, realistically won't get this again for probably 20 years.
It's probably going to die before they can get it again.
Yeah. But I think they did a good enough job where they could be a repeat user. I think that would be neat.
The warming house was really cool. And how the players came out and skated the length to the ice. The small rinks were really
Yep,
cool.
Those are cool.
Like there was a lot of thought by a lot of people involved that really worked out well. And so it wasn't just we'll park the ice rink here and play a game. It did a really good job of paying homage to the sport, and they came up with a lot of cool things. So, bravo!
Good job.
Not a great game.
Not a great game.
but a fun time.
Fun time. I liked it. I had a great time.
A fun time. Personally, I wouldn't have liked it if I was a coach. So.
No, not at all.
Okay, I got 2 wild questions before we wrap up.
Alrighty.
At this point in time, I want the Declan Goff opinion on a season-long problem, but it's still very much there. State of the power play. What do you do now? But by the way, Spurgeon's out right now. Brodeen's out. Eck is out. So it's getting worse. But the power play, for Kirill Kaprizov to be on this team and the power play to be this bad is remarkable.
Yeah, it's atrocious. The thing is, it's kind of amazing how strong the Wild have been 5-on-5 this year, and that's why they've been able to score so many damn goals. But at the same time, I mean, their power play is at 16% and league average is 20. So, I mean, yeah, they are well below league average for just a power play. And I there's way too many horses, to your point. Kirill, Zuccarello, Fiala, Dumba. There's too many good players just in that group alone for the power play, again, to be no worse than average. Absolutely no worse than average. Ryan Hartman's been a nice story, but Ryan Hartman also has 15 goals, with 14 of them being on even strength. They have to figure out a way to get something going here. Foligno's been able to get some garbage goals. He's got 4 power play goals this year. Joel Eriksson Ek, actually, he has more power play goals than even strength goals this year. He's been a nice garbage cleaner, garbage man right in front of the net, which has been good. But obviously, you're without him for a while, and this is where maybe Boldy and Rossi can help something out, man.
Boldy is good on the power play. I'll tell you that right now, and I think you could potentially slot him in very quickly to the top power play.
Well, there'd be no excuse for him if he indeed is called up here and is playing in a significant role for him not to squeeze into one of those 2 units. There's zero and if the crap is, we don't want to overwhelm him. BS. He's a 20 something year old kid who's played in college hockey, played in World Juniors, and knows what the hell he's doing on a power play.
Yep.
You're not throwing him into the wolves by any means, but you have to figure out.
But that thing looks lost right now to me.
Oh yeah, it is. It absolutely is.
And it's getting worse, and that's not a good thing.
That's definitely a cause for concern because you just have to clean this up. The Knights made life hell on the Wild last year in their first round series because they cashed in the power play. Yep. The Wild couldn't. The Wild you might look at, hey, they went 0 for 5 against the Winnipeg Jets at home. That stinks. It's perplexing. We can talk about it. You can't go 0 for 5 in Game 2 of the NHL playoff series. Mm-hmm. You just can't. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious on what they can do to fix that. I don't know what that really truly is. But last year, they were so bad to start. Then they actually tapered off and ran off and looked like the best power play in the league. And then it fell apart again towards the end of the regular season into the playoffs. You just got to find some type of consistency here. You have to.
Much like I have, Declan Goff.
Yes, you have.
I have found consistency in weight loss because of my friends at Livia Weight Control Centers. And when it comes to weight loss, there's no better feeling, Declan, than to say, I did it. You can take the Livia I Did It 8-week challenge and get your first 8 weeks for free. That's right. The 8-week challenge. Get your first 8 weeks. I said it for free. Limited time offer is going to end soon, so I want you to call today and experience the weight loss that I have. 855-GO-LIVEA or visit Livia.com. Livea.com. Livia.com. I am down from approximately 240 pounds to 208. Feeling great. Down a pant size from a size 38-inch waist jean to a 36. As I said earlier today, all of my clothes are in play, and you can have the same success. The I Did It 8-week challenge, 8 weeks, your first 8 weeks for free. Livia.com, and tell them that Judd's Hockey Show told you to call them up and say, in the new year, I want to look like Judd does. At least lose the weight like Judd has.
Right.
Okay, here's my last question for you.
Okay.
Injury roll call. Which one concerns you most? Spurgeon's hurt. And I'm concerned about Spurgeon because he re-injured the problem. So he got hurt initially in Florida, missed some time, came back too soon. I have heard rumblings it might be a groin. Came back probably too soon, is out again. Eck is hurt. We don't know with what, but I think it's a shoulder. I think he might be lost for quite a while. He, of course, was hurt in that loss to Dallas that we talked about. And then finally, Cam Talbot, we don't know, but he suffered some type of lower body injury, which Dean Evison said is why he got lifted from the outdoor game, not because he had given up 6 goals. Which one concerns you the most?
The problem is, I thought the Wild's defense before the pause happened and before the game started getting canceled, it did look suspect. Like it wasn't as good as it once was without Spurgeon. But I feel like if Brodeen's coming back and you still have Dumba, I'm not as concerned there. Like Jared Spurgeon is an integral part of this team, so I don't want it to come off as like, oh, he's Jared Spurgeon's replaceable, because he is not.
Brodeen's been better this year, though.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
And Spurgeon is a very important piece of this team. Indeed, is going to make a Stanley Cup run. But if you lose Eck long term, like Marco Rossi becomes literally your best center. Like, and he hasn't played a game. Like Ryan Hartman's been nice and he's been a great story, but like in terms of pure talent wise, oh my God, like you're now making Victor Rask again play a significant minutes and a significant portion with this team, which I don't want.
Yeah.
Nick Bukestad then has to dance around this. Am I a center? Am I a wing thing? And look, Nico Sturm, you and I have wanted him to play more. I've accepted who Nico Sturm is, which is a nice player. I'm not trying to say he's bad, but I know who he is. Like he's got some speed. He's nice. But he honestly does and will fall into the same bin that Frederick Gaudreau is, which is a player who has some nice speed, but he has no finishing touch. Like he has no natural scoring ability. I don't think so. I don't think it's there. So I that's my long-winded way too of saying that my injury concern with Eck is bigger than Spurgeon's.
Okay. On Gaudreau, how can I put this? Because he's fast. He can definitely skate. On Gaudreau, I feel like the more I watch him, the less impressed I become. Like Sturm, I really like him, and I know to you, what you just said. I know who he is, and you're right. He struggles to finish at times. On Gaudreau, I feel like he got off to oh man, he's a better player than I thought type of start.
Yes.
I feel like the more we watch him, the more it's like he is a definite bottom 6 and potentially 4th line guy, and that's probably it. That there's not a lot of there. He's got speed, which I really like.
Sure.
But I don't feel like the game is complete, and I can see why he has shuffled around with teams. Like I could see why he's gotten hot at times and played great at times. I also see why he doesn't last, and why he's been a guy who I think baseball people would probably call a quad A player.
Right. I'm more intrigued, obviously, by Nico Sturm just because of the lack of games that he's played. But I've accepted that there isn't really this new player that can be unlocked. And I think he's a very serviceable player. He's a nice player to have on your bottom 6 or a 4th line guy that can move up and down the ice really well. And especially, this game has gotten so much faster that you need guys like that.
Okay, yeah.
But if Nico Sturm basically has to be thrown into a more minutes, like that doesn't really give me a lot to write home about either.
Gaudreau?
Well, both. But like
Sturm, I'm fine with where he is. Gaudreau, I don't know what I've become much less impressed. And granted, they aren't playing consistently, which hurts. Sturm, I think, is fine where Sturm is. Gaudreau, I don't know. Like, I know Dean likes him a lot. I don't know that's going to justify the playing time.
No, I agree.
I'm more concerned about that.
Yeah, Gaudreau got off to a better start than maybe we anticipated, but I think we know who he is. And that's where I think Nico Sturm eventually just falls into the same bin of we know who he is. We know what he brings and what his deficiencies are. So you have to play Rossi. Like, you have to.
So,
or you have to trade for someone.
Yeah. So the one that concerns me is Talbot. Because one, I'm naturally concerned about how things have gone of late, just in his play. And hey, look, his position, this has to be incredibly tough. You're not playing for 12 days. Now you're playing again. Then you play in a godforsaken outdoor game, which if I'm a goalie, I really hate, because you can't tell where the puck's going. He gets hurt in that game. That stinks. But it's not like I was convinced that Cam was fantastic before that. He's played really well at times. But if he is hurt for any amount of time now, we're going to find out about Capo. And as you said, Hammond's been recalled, but I mean, that's a guy who had the great run with the Sens. Is that 4 or 5 years ago now? And has basically been a minor league goaltender since.
Yeah, and he's played fine in Iowa.
Yeah, and he's a serviceable guy, but for what you need in goal, I have a definite concern there. I have a definite concern, and I'm concerned anytime a goaltender has a lower body problem.
Yeah.
Because you don't know. Like, I mean, you're talking about a lot of load there. You're talking about a lot of load put on those legs if it's a leg problem. Like, I can't think of a good lower body problem for a goalie to have where it's like, oh, that's no big deal, right?
Right.
So that definitely concerns me. And that leads back to what you said about if Eck is out. If Cam Talbot's going to be out for any amount of time, do you have to at least explore a trade there about trying to get another goaltender here?
Yeah,
because I don't know what you can, like, can you ride Capo? I don't know the answer to that question.
I don't know.
I like him, but I don't know that you can ride him.
It's more obtainable to get a backup goaltender off the street that you can plug in and play. Not off the street, I shouldn't say, off the trade market.
Yep.
That you can plug and play.
Yep.
The demand for, let's say, again, I just keep throwing his name out there, but Thomas Hertl would still be very high.
Oh, yeah.
So that price necessarily hasn't dipped, but it's more logistical to go get a goalie. But to be honest, if Talbot is indeed out long term, and Talbot's has ridden a wave this year, man. He looked bad to start, then he looked great for 2 weeks, and now he's banged up again. Where Capo is just, we were still trying to figure out if he's not just a one, but is he someone that you even can count on? So I think we'll figure out pretty damn quick here if Capo Kakkonen is indeed a player that you trust to play goaltender for you long term.
So if we find out tomorrow, Cam Talbot's going to miss, and I'm just completely guessing here. If we find out he's going to miss 4 to 6 weeks or more,
yeah,
what's your answer?
I ride Capo for 2 weeks. I basically ride Capo and, whatever, 80-20 split with the Hamburglar, whatever the hell you want to do there. And then if it's bad, yeah, you'll have to trade for a goalie. I think the issue in the leverage side is, well, then teams are going to know you're going to want a goalie.
Correct.
So then Bill Guerin's going to have to get finessed.
And I'm not going to get taken.
No, not at all.
He won't get taken.
No. So I think you don't do it now. Like if
I agree with that.
Let's say today or Monday or Tuesday that Cam Talbot will miss the next 4 to 6 weeks with LBI.
Yep.
I don't go and panic and trade for a goalie now.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe Billy disagrees. Maybe Bill Guerin would say, nope, we're doing it.
I don't think he'd panic trade. I think he might
panic.
trade for a guy that he sees as a serviceable one, but I don't think he would panic and make a trade that would cost you much.
No, I don't think so either. But I think you ride Capo. I think that's your logical solution there. Might blow up in your face, but I think that's what you do.
All right, sir, we are done. Good stuff. Hopefully, when the Wild comes back and plays on Thursday at Boston, and then they play on Saturday at home against Washington. Hopefully, that starts a consistent streak of games. So Judd's Hockey Show, JHS, as we like to call it, can again get into a regular rotation on your podcast feed.
For everyone watching this. And yes, we are back. This is Judd's Hockey Show. We've been gone for a little bit as well, but this is Daily Minnesota Sports Entertainment on the Score North YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button for Minnesota Wild, Vikings, Timberwolves. We won't talk about the other main...
Can't really talk about Twins.
Can't really talk about the Twins
They're
right now.
locked out.
But if you want Daily Minnesota Sports Entertainment, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. And as always, pass, shoot, score.